Alright, I'm going to do a quick tutorial, I guess, or exploration of Pile's Prefab Editor version V0.3M, which adds a whole bunch of new stuff, including some of the stuff I talked about really wanting to get on the last editor. Like things like front view, side view, and just a few other little tips and tricks that he's added. But basically, this is going to go over sleeper volumes, some of these checkboxes, which now I know what they do, and a couple of other new features we have up here, as well as removing columns and rows. So the first thing we want to do is basically pick up where I left off last time. What the hell does this box do? Well, first of all, let me scroll this out a little bit, pan it, do whatever I need to do. Oops, where's my pan button? There we go, there's pan. Now I want to move this button here. Oh, here's something cool, by the way, if you're into this sort of thing. This will actually rotate the prefab for you. I will probably never use this because I always like to know my orientation. I always know that this is going to be south to north, and that way I don't have to worry about it. But I guess if you wanted to rotate it, you can, and you can rotate it in different views. I don't know what happens when you save it in a different view like that, but I'm not worried about it because I'm not going to do it. Anyway, what the hell does this box do, right? So I'm going to basically make this box right here. This is sort of a select, but it only selects just in here. This is good for like making walls and stuff, right? So I'm going to make, say, I don't know, brick, right? Where's my brick at? Where's my brick at? Oh, edit. Duh. Oh, here's some other cool stuff too. He's basically all these tabs, all these windows are hidden behind here. He's now basically made tabs for. So this is the edit tab. So I'm going to make this a brick block, right? Then I'm going to set all. Now look at it. Now it's have a nice brick wall. Woohoo! Pretty cool, right? But I want to fill it in with snow. So I'm going to basically click the paint button here, and I'm going to fill it in with, nope, wrong one, sorry, Control Z that bad boy, fill button, and then now it's filled in with snow. So basically the filler will fill in, just like a paint program, any enclosed loop. So it just so happens this loop was a rectangular block of bricks because I made it bricks, and I filled it in with this. So that's pretty cool. So let's say I have a complicated prefab. I'm going to load the factory prefab, right? And I want to change, I don't know, all of the brick to something else, right? But I only want to change, okay, I only want to change just the bricks, right? So I'm going to highlight, right? And select everything. It's going to give me all the list of the selected blocks, and I'll change all the brick blocks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight it again, click selected blocks, and highlight only the brick blocks. Alright, this lets me know all the brick blocks. Now I could have done a full search and replace, which would have worked for this whole prefab, but what if I only wanted to do just the ones in the smokestack? I want to change all the ladder metals to, you know, some other ladder metal. Now you can see it only does it in the layer, or I could select the layer to do it as well. So I can select it, select ladder metal, or select it, select the layer to ladder metal, and let's see what the difference that was. What I'd like to really see is be able to select both, so that way I'm selecting all the ladder metals in all the layers by checking that checkbox. That to me makes a lot more sense. But I thought that was pretty cool. Alright, so checkbox is over here in the edit tab, right? So let's say I'm looking at this whole prefab. I'm going to blow it up a little bit so I can see a little bit better. I'm going to, right now, the color tab is selected, which basically means it's going to show all just the colors, right? What if I want to show the coordinates for each block? What if I want to show what the textures look like? Looks like none of these are textured. Oh wait, there's some texture stuff right here. There's some texture blocks. So this block has a front texture of this one. What if I want to show all the sides texture? Sort of just like this box right here. Looks like only the front texture is textured on this block. Only this side is textured on this block. So you can kind of see what the textures look like, and I think that's pretty cool. Let's see, or this button right here. It just basically gives you info. It's a air button. He doesn't really have a name for it. Maybe this is supposed to be over here. I don't really know. Or maybe it's supposed to be something right here. But either way, you can kind of change things that way. Let's see what else we can do. Oh, I can edit the damage, right? So I can say this block here is going to have, let's see, 16 points of damage. I'm going to select all. So now this block's going to automatically be damaged by just a little bit, right? But I like this view right here because this is what I'm used to in house, so that's what I'm going to work with. Okay, let's say I want to remove columns and rows. This is also pretty cool. So let's say I want to choose front view, and then I want to move all these columns right here, right? So basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my regular select just the ones I want to remove, and then I'm going to remove rows, so it removes all of those rows or all of these columns. All of these rows, all of these columns. Boom. That is awesome, right? I think that's cool. Now for my new favorite feature, because it's cool looking, is the X-ray button. So basically what the X-ray mode does is it basically says, okay, right now we're looking at a side view of this building, and these are all the blocks that we can see because air has transparency in this view. I'm going to make the air transparent though, and then now I can see as if all the air blocks are gone. So it kind of makes it look like more like a hospital, right? Side view. And let me reload that since I had chopped off all those layers. Let's go to the hospital. Hospital's cool, right? So this is the hospital now. Isn't this a lot cooler looking than this? So you see the front of the hospital. The very first layer you come across is the sidewalk, the curb. Then you're walking on parking lot. Parking lot's boring, so you finally get to the building. But that's not how I want to see it. I want to see it all. Boom. Much better view. Boom. Much better view. So that is my hospital. This is my hospital without X-ray. This is my hospital by making all the air layers transparent inside the editor. So let's talk about these weird ass blocks right here. This kind of green square right now. These are called sleeper volumes, and sleeper volumes are kind of complicated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically blow out the menu so I can show you. Basically, this is a sleeper volume. And any sleeper block inside of a sleeper volume is going to be activated when you cross this threshold. So basically, if my character is walking over here and he crosses the threshold, it's going to activate all the sleeper blocks in here, in theory. Doesn't always work, as we know. Sleeper system's still kind of broken. You still get teleporting sleepers, but that's the theory, right? So let's make our own sleeper volume. So the first thing I want to do is I want to place a, let's see here, zoom in a little bit. Let's see. I assume this is the front door. I don't really know this prefab very well. Alright, so yeah, these look like front doors to me. It's a couch, concrete block, window plug, concrete ramp. I'm looking up here, by the way, for this. So I don't know the front doors in this, but I'm going to pretend that these are front doors, right? And you're walking up here, and then here's the entrance. I want sleepers to spawn right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a sleeper volume, and I'm going to add a new sleeper volume, and I'm going to get this little box right here. So I'm going to have to right-click it to kind of move it around, though. I've yet to figure out how to just sort of move it. I guess you can just left-click it and move it. So that way, as you walk into the sleeper volume, it's going to spawn all the sleeper blocks in here, right? I don't have any sleeper blocks in here. So I'm going to add one. Place a sleeper right here. So there's a sleeper side left. I guess he's choosing random sleepers, but you can also control that too. So inside my new kind of light green sleeper volume block, I'm going to find it. And here it is right here. It's going to call sleeper volume small loot room XS, which that's not the sleeper volume I want. I want to make a super nasty one. So I'm going to do S badass XL. So I get the sleeper badass extra large. And then I'm going to add a game stage modifier. What that means is if your game stage is 1 and you walk into this sleeper volume, the zombies that are going to spawn are going to be ones with a game stage modifier as if your game stage is 1,000. That's going to be cray cray. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much all I want to do, right? Oh, you know what? I never actually placed a sleeper, did I? Yeah, I did. Okay, there he is. I don't know why sleeper block count is 1, but whatever. All right, so count sleeper blocks, I guess. Okay, so I guess there's 6 in here. Wow. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of sleepers in here I didn't even realize that were already here. So that updates that, right? So now when I walk in here, all of these sleepers are going to wake up, and they're going to be based on this S Badass XL piece of puppy right here, which let me show you what that means. Let's see, program files. So I'm going to go to, say, the XML of this. No, I want to show you the game stages first. Yeah, game stages, right? So I'm going to look at, what I'm looking for is S Badass XL. S Badass. So what that does is that group calls the spawner name Zombie Badass Horde. When you go into Zombie Badass Horde, it calls the game stage spawn group Zombie Badass Group. So I'll go into game stages, Zombie Badass Group. Jeez. I was already in game stages. When I go into entity groups, rather, Zombie Badass Group is right here, and it has all of these zombies in it. Okay, so this will be nasty. You walk to the front of that hospital, and all of a sudden you have all these zombies. That's going to be pretty nasty to run into. So sleepers are kind of complicated and not really germane to this particular video. I have a post about them in, I want to say, How's Prefab Editor thread, and that should kind of explain more of what's going on there. So anyway, you're walking up here, you cross this little green line, this is the volume that gets spawned, and then all these sleepers turn into one of those blocks, one of those sleepers we talked about there, from a generic sleeper block. In this case, it's generic sleeper block, sleeper back, which I guess he's on his back. This one's sleeper sit, this one's sleeper sit, sleeper sit, sleeper sit, sleeper sit. So, and I'm looking up here when I'm highlighting these. Back, sit, 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 sit. That's how sleeper volumes work. We have a console tab, which basically is, I guess, his way of bug testing. I'm not 100% sure what this does. We have an XML tab, which has legacy features and not finished features, so this is kind of useless at the moment. You kind of got to know which works and what doesn't, and this editor is not going to cover that for you, so that's the different video or a different tutorial or somebody else. We have a search tab. I'm not sure what this is for yet. I can't type anything. I can just click checkboxes. That seems kind of weird. The info tab and the edit tab. So yeah, that's what I got going on so far. You got, I know what to show you. Let's see, where was it? Front view. Remember we were talking about deleting columns and rows? Well, I want to delete these columns, and remember I can hold control these columns. So see, that's pretty cool. I like that. And just clicking on them, of course, will delete them. That's a whole better way to do it. I have yet to discover the secret of the removing layers. I guess it's not in yet, which kind of sucks because that one's pretty damn important. I'll have to watch my original video and see how that's done. I assume there's got to be a way though, because removing layers is pretty vital for importing and exporting prefabs. What else do I need to go over? I think that's pretty much it. Next video will show even more features as he adds them.